Hattie Kanyo, we are here after your big semifinals debut. Not debut because you've been at semifinals before, but now you have punched the ticket, your rookie ticket to the CrossFit Games. Has it really sunk in yet?
I mean, it has and it hasn't. Like, I still feel like I'm dreaming a little bit, but it's crazy because the emotions have just been so up and down. Like, even right after it hadn't really set in, and we were driving, I think, to Universal Studios or something, and we were listening to a really good song, and I didn't even know what it was, but I was just vibing out. And all of a sudden, I just started bawling. And my two friends in the front were like, "What? Why are you crying right now?" And I was like, "It just set in. Like, I just punched my ticket." So it was kind of delayed, but there's no right way to do it. And that's what I'm learning, right? Like, even on the floor when they called my name, I thought I would just start bawling, but it was more of just like I don't know, like, I'm ready to cry right now. Why didn't I cry on the floor when they called my name, And I felt almost bad about it that I didn't cry, but there's no right way to do it. It's just like, let your emotions come how they need to, right?
Was it this out of body experience, or is it something that, you played through in your head several times before and even last year at semifinals that now it actually happened and your body is almost rejecting the emotions?
Yeah, I think so. And also, I was just a little bit disappointed on how that last event went because I was kind of not checked out, but like, what happened was my boyfriend had told me that I had clenched before the event even happened. And he's like, "You made it." And that's when I had my big cry. We hugged. And I think knowing that, I didn't have that urgency in my subconscious. Like, obviously, I went in being like, "Hey, let's do this." Like, I love ring muscle ups. I'm going unbroken. I love, the bike. We're going to be good. The lunges are going to be hard, but we're going to grind it out. Dropped at 11 ring muscle ups because I just could. Like, I don't even know what was going through my head. I was like, "Why did you drop? We were going unbroken." And so I think it was more of just like a feeling of a little bit of disappointment. And then, yeah, a little bit of out of body in the sense of being like, I was just watching myself being like, "We did it. You're proud." But I just wanted more. I even talked to Ariel Lowen after and was like, "What a weird feeling. I was so proud, so excited to punch my ticket, but I wanted more. As soon as that podium was in reach, I wanted more." And it was just a weird feeling, I guess.
I mean, you were on top of the leaderboard for a good amount of the weekend too, and I think as we started to get to know you more throughout the weekend, it was this realization. I mean, it's different for you because you know what your strengths are. You know that you've earned this, but maybe for people who aren't as aware of who you are and your history, and we'll get into some of that, it was like, "Oh, is she gonna stay on top of the leaderboard? What's gonna happen here?" Like, and it was so cool to see that, yeah, you did clinch. You were the only person on the women's and men's side to clinch going into that last event. But let's just kind of go through your weekend. What is what were your overall expectations and goals approaching semifinals this year?
Expectations were just to have fun and not put so much stress on myself. I think last year I was just so burnt out and mentally and physically that I was like, I don't want to feel like that again. Like, even a coach that's not even my coach, it's actually my best friend's old coach. He even texted Amanda and was like, "What's wrong with Hattie? Like, she's checked out." He doesn't even know me, but he knew before the event even happened last year that I was so burnt out, right? And yeah, so that was my expectation, just to have fun doing it and, just be so grateful for everything around me, being grateful that I'm even there, and like, just to have all that support with me. Every time we would be done an event, we would walk up those stairs and my whole group would just be waiting for me. And it was just like the best feeling ever to just have that support and love. And then, yeah, the goal was obviously to punch my ticket, my first ticket. Not like, I did not expect to be on the top. Obviously, my confidence has built over these years, and I was confident that I was really good at a lot of those events, but I was not expecting to be on the top for a lot of it.
When did you, like, first walk into a CrossFit affiliate, or just when did you start CrossFit in general?
It was probably about 7 to 8 years ago. I had walked in, I had like been practicing it a little bit at the college gym. So I was going to college, and my professor is actually the one that tried to get me to go for 3 years. And I was like, nope, stereotypical. People get hurt in CrossFit. I'm not doing it. Right. I was like more bodybuilding, and I was a cross country runner, soccer player at the time. So I was just like, I'm not doing that. But then I kind of started looking into it a little bit, drank the Kool-Aid just a little bit. I got the shoes and the shorts. And then at the gym, I like practiced a couple snatches, a couple cleans. And so finally I was like, whatever, let's just try it. And yeah, I was hooked as soon as I walked in.
When you started drinking the Kool-Aid, so to speak, did you have a goal as, "Oh," and if it was, like, around regionals times, "Hey, I wanna go to regionals," and then it switched to semifinals, and then that was the goal, and if so, at what point did your mindset change to, "No, I want the big stage, I want the CrossFit Games?"
Well, obviously, when you start, you see all the CrossFit games and you see all the girls, and you're like, I would love to go to the CrossFit games. But my confidence was not high at all. So I was like, that would be so cool, but I'm just going to stick to these local competitions. Like, I'm going to go crush local competitions. So obviously, in the back of my head, it always seemed like I wanted the CrossFit games, or I always told myself I wanted it, but at the same time, I had that voice also telling me you can't make it. Like, there's no way you can make it. So I just stuck to local competitions, and then after COVID is when I was like, we found a time to get to Bali, and that's the first time that we went to Bali to live, and we lived there for 10 months, and we kind of let ourselves go. We were drinking every day during COVID. I got a little bigger. I watched myself in a video of me like getting back into fitness, and I was like, whoa, okay, I let myself go a little bit. So in Bali, we worked out hard, and I was like, okay, this is where I'm going to start pushing myself. I never want to let myself get to that like depressing, you know, whatever feeling again. So that's when I just started working hard. And obviously the first goal was just to get a good quarterfinals, and then let's get to regionals or semifinals. It was kind of all changing at that time. So I was like, whatever it's going to be, sanctionals, semifinals, whatever it is, I want to get there. And then just the last 3 years is really when I was like, okay, let's push for the games.
I wanna go back to talking about Bali. Why Bali? And you train half the year there? Take me through all of that.
Yeah, so my boyfriend and I really love traveling. And so before COVID had happened, we were like, let's do an around the world trip and figure out where we want to go live that's tropical and just live for a couple months even. So we started in Panama, and we both love the mountains. So we went to this mountain town in Panama thinking that was going to be the place. And we had just a really crappy time there. We hiked a volcano, and I got really bad altitude sickness where I was like
Oh,
hallucinating
no.
and then projectile vomiting. So it was crazy. We just didn't really have a great time there. I mean, Panama's awesome, but just we were like, let's go to the next. So we stopped in Madagascar on the way just for kind of a little trip to go
Oh,
see those
cool.
cool trees, the baobab trees, and we
Yeah.
ended in Bali. So we stayed there for a month, and we fell in love. So we had plans to go the next year, but then COVID happened. We ended up getting these visas, and just this tiny little window opened where we went to Bali, and we were able to stay there. The plan was 6 months, but Canada was still shut down. The whole vaccine thing was happening. And so we were like, should we just stay for another couple months? And we ended up staying 10 months in all. And yeah, we've just been going back ever since. And yeah, we just love it.
So you go back to Bali every year, and how long do you stay for?
It just depends, kind of like 4 to 6 months is usually what we do. This
Okay.
year we're actually not going back because like I want to try Wadapalooza, maybe Rogue if I can, and just like some North America comps. I mean, I guess Rogue isn't here anymore, but yeah, just try different comps around here. And then we have a couple of weddings to go to as well, one in Texas, one in Portugal. So we're like, let's just kind of travel around here, a little bit of Europe, and then yeah, we'll go back to Bali in 2025.
So you have this bug for traveling, obviously a bug for fitness and athletics growing up. Before that, what what were you like before you found sports and a desire for culture and travel?
Yeah, like I was telling you before, I was a little shithead out of high school. um,
Let's dive into that more. What does that mean to you?
so growing up, I played sports. I'm from a town with 3,000 people. It's a religious town, and we all are just like since birth sent out onto the soccer field or onto the basketball field or whatever, or basketball court, whatever it is. Like I was playing sports since I could walk. So I've always been athletic that way. And then right out of high school, I was going to sign on with the Pronghorns here to play rugby, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't want to spend a bunch of money in university for something I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I just went the polar opposite and got into too much partying, alcohol, drugs. Like it was really bad. And I got a really bad eating disorder. And yeah, it was just like a really dark, I mean, I wouldn't trade it because it's made me stronger for sure, but just like my life was going down a really bad path. And my brother is actually the one, he's like one of the fittest dudes I know, and he's a police officer. He's just like loves fitness, loves the mountains, loves everything. So he actually pulled me aside and was like, hey, why don't you come to the gym with me? Like I've never really been to a gym like lifting weights before, right? I played all the sports, but I never did that. So he showed me fitness, and I always just say I'm so grateful for him because he changed my life around just by showing me how to, do some circuits or whatever. So my best friend and I, we just went to the gym a lot, did a lot of circuit training. And then finally I decided I wanted to make a career out of that. So I went to school for exercise science. I was a dual athlete So I did cross country running and soccer. And yeah, then my professor showed me CrossFit, and it's kind of how it happened.
What an interesting way to find CrossFit, and I feel like a lot of people can relate on that it kind of changed their, um, like, where they gave their energy into something positive. But we talk to, other athletes, and primarily it seems like women athletes, whether it's teen or adult athletes, that at some point they did deal with the relationship with food. I can speak to that. We know several other athletes that can speak to that. How were you nervous entering CrossFit when it comes to, like, having that positive relationship with food and just continuing the progress for yourself?
I don't think I was too nervous by the time I got to CrossFit because I had a handle on my eating disorder for the most part. Like I still had the thoughts, but for the most part, I just wanted to be strong. Like I was going to do bodybuilding instead of CrossFit, and then I kind of just understood what that was all about and what that would do to me. And I was like, no, that will bring back my eating disorder like really, really negatively. So I think going into it being like, no, this is going to make me stronger. And, now I can have a better relationship with food because of the eating disorder that I had. It was, now I can eat the food and keep it in because I'm going to need it. Right. And so I think I just went in with that kind of mindset, not saying that I didn't have those thoughts. It did take years and years to get those thoughts away. Now I don't even have thoughts to do that again ever. Even if I do accidentally eat way too much, I just sit there and I'm like, well, we're going to use this for the workout tomorrow. Like
We're gonna lift heavy tomorrow and utilize all of it. There's something else that I wanna get into. It was a note, and you gotta thank all of your friends that were sending me messages because they were giving me a couple tidbits. First, how to correctly pronounce your name, so I
yeah,
appreciate them for that, and they were so kind about it. So you could just
that's
give them
good.
a pat on the back for that. They were very, very kind. But one of your friends mentioned that you were previously a wildland firefighter. Your partner, your boyfriend still does it, and you essentially get shipped out to remote areas in Canada to fight wildfires?
Yeah, best job in the world other than this one obviously, but it
Okay,
is.
let's start at the beginning. How do you even get into that?
So it was my ex-boyfriend. I was still in college. I think I was in my last year of college, and that's what he was doing. So I didn't know exactly where I was going with my career. So I decided to just apply and try. And yeah, I loved it so much. And when I went up there, it's like the hick area where people are like hunting and fishing and they got big dips in and, all of that. And so I didn't really grow up that way. And so it was kind of intimidating that way. And I heard a couple of rumors going around being like, she's not going to last up here. And that just put a fire under my butt. Like, realize when people say negative things, it puts a fire. So just keep it coming, everybody. Keep
I
it
love it.
coming, because it seriously just puts a little fire under my butt, where I was one of the first females to become a leader up there as well. And it was in my 3rd year, which is huge. So, I mean, I
Congrats.
did it
That's
for
awesome.
6 years. Yeah, it was amazing. I loved it so much. We get to fly in helicopters every day and just going out, landing in the middle of the woods, hiking all your stuff into the fire and just putting out fire, getting dirty, down and dirty.
Have you always been an adventure seeker? Because that kind of falls into the bucket of people who like skydiving, bungee jumping, and all of those adventure seeking things.
I don't even know. I think it just kind of came. I think that job really opened up my eyes in that sense, because I was pretty secluded in my hometown of like, we just kind of lived in the hometown. We didn't do anything too crazy. I mean, as a did bit as a because my first backpacking trip was with some girls from firefighting. We all went to Central America, and that was my first taste of like actually getting out and seeing other cultures and traveling. So I think that job really helped a lot in that for sure. And then CrossFit was so cool up there because I felt like I was doing the old school CrossFit. Me and my friend, we put up a board across 2 trees, and that's where I hung my rings. We had the tires to flip. I brought my barbell out there, and I was just lifting my barbell out like on grass or on the rocks, like wherever we could find, right?
You don't need air condition and to be inside a building to get your fitness in. And I
No.
love that because that also has a lot of translation over into kind of how the games are, or at least how they have been. What are some of your favorite, like, random types of fitness things to do?
Ooh. I don't know. I do love odd object stuff. I mean, when you're kind of just like flipping a tire out in the middle of nowhere, that's pretty fun. I mean, running isn't random, but I do love running. So, and you can do that anywhere, right? So, I mean, when we're traveling, we'll go running out on the beach or running out in the woods or wherever it is. Like, that's the cool thing with running, is you can just do it anywhere. Um, yeah, I don't know. The rings over the trees, that was probably the coolest thing that I ever did, because it was my friend. We both were like, how can we get rings up here? And then we just found these 2 perfect trees, and yeah, it just all worked out.
You mentioned that your boyfriend was at semifinals. Who else did you have there for your support system?
Yeah, so I had him, I had my best friend Amanda, and she actually does my nutrition as well. And she was just, oh, I'll forever be grateful for her, because the first year that I went to semifinals, my boyfriend wasn't able to come. So she was like, well, you're not going alone. Like, I'm coming with you. So she came with me, and that's when she first started doing nutrition. So she kind of helped me a little bit with that as well. My manager, and then I had my coach as well. The people there, which was super cool to have a lot of the girls to compete with as well. Like there's a lot of girls from Alberta even. So it was super cool that we could all do that together.
When you're back there, what is the environment like as you're cooling down with these girls, as you're in the corrals with these other women? Has it evolved with this is your 3rd, I believe, semifinal? This was your 3rd one this year.
Yeah.
Has like the relationships between people evolved as you get to know more people, or just what is that experience like?
I think it just depends on different people, right? I'm realizing that you just have to let people be in their zone if they're in their zone. Cause like I had a comment said to me, and I was like, oh, damn, like, okay, she's in her zone, right? And then afterwards, it's like, it's so different, because then you're happy and whatever. But I think you just have to realize that some people are going to be in their zone. Some people are going to be all over the place. Like, I'm dancing and I'm singing in the back. That's just who I am. And I'm not going to change it. I'm not going to just turn into this, you know, I just don't have that, you know. Obviously on the dance floor, on the competition floor, I'm instantly, yeah, I'm in
Could be
my
a dance
zone.
floor
But
too.
yeah, it could be. I've danced on the competition floor before,
Yeah.
but
When a good song hits and you're in the middle of a transition, you
you're
can add a couple
vibing.
moves. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think it's just important to know that about girls. Like, not everyone's going to be in your vibes, and that's totally fine.
Leading into this season, in the off season, you took first at Elephant in Egypt. Why choose that competition? Did that give you more confidence? How does that fit into the equation of this bigger goal for you? Or how did it?
Yeah, I mean, I was wanting to do Dubai as well. So we were kind of just like, let's go do that and then hope for Dubai. And Dubai didn't happen, but we just made a trip out of it, obviously, because we love traveling. So we just snuck over there from Bali and then kind of made a trip out of it. We were there for a month. And yeah, it did give me confidence for sure. And I'm just so new and to the sport that I don't really know a lot about anything, where my point spread was pretty good going into the last day, but I still had to be like, am I good? Like, I don't even know where I am. And I remember one of the competitors' husband, he was like, dude, you can just chill, you're good on the last event. And so because I think, I don't even remember this point spread, but they're like, you're going to be fine. And I was like, okay, fine.
Do you look at the leaderboard throughout the weekend, or do you have somebody else that does that for you and give you updates, or what does that look like?
Yeah, I'm trying not to look at it. I remember at Worlds, we were in Sweden, and I was in third the whole weekend. And going up to the last event, I was still in third, but I knew who was underneath of me. And instantly I was like, oh, she's better at me or better at this than I am. And maybe she would have beat me anyways, but I think that I just gave up in that sense and I just let her have it. And then two people got ahead of me and I ended up in fifth. And it's stuff like that I'm working on for sure. Like even semifinals, I've realized that I have come a long way with the leaderboard and maybe I am okay with knowing. Like even on the second day, I didn't want to know anything. I even posted it on my Instagram. Hey guys, I'm not looking at the leaderboard. Please don't text me anything, but you can text me like congrats or whatever. And then one of the other girls' coach was walking by with her phone. She's like, Hattie, nice job. You're on top of the leader.
Oh,
Yeah, she's like, you're on top of the leaderboard. And I was like,
like, ah.
okay. But I actually just soaked it in and I was like, okay, I'm okay with knowing that. As long as I don't know where anyone else is, then that's cool to know. And it did give me a little bit of confidence. So I'm really realizing when I need to, step away from the leaderboard and when it's okay to look at it. It's just all learning and I'm trying to get stronger in my mindset in that sense.
But that is so hard because it's a balance of, if I know I'm at the top of the leaderboard, it's either A, gonna give me confidence and give me this fire because I wanna stay there, or it's going to be this added pressure and maybe work against you. So figuring out, did you struggle to figure out which type of athlete you would be and how you respond?
Yeah, I think a little bit of that, but I honestly just didn't really let it get to me. Yes, I was happy about it, but then I kind of just was like, tomorrow's a whole new day. Like we have three, that was only half of the event, right? We still have three more events tomorrow and so many things can change. I knew I was good on a lot of those events, especially the snatch one. I was like, you know, they're really good events for me, but at the same time, anything could happen, So it's a whole new day. And that's why I was really proud of my mindset in the sense of I wasn't letting it go too far down or too far up.
Mm. Just looking at the leaderboard, maybe we've buried the lead, but I wanted to get to know you a little bit more before we get into the performance piece, because we're going to need to talk about you. And I was going to say Madison, but now it's Fort Worth, Texas.
Fort Worth.
I know we got to like dial it into our brain because we've been so used to Madison for too long at this point. You finished fourth in North America West. You had a third, a seventh, a fourth, an eighth, a fifth, and a 23rd. But if we look, you are tied in points with Ariel Lowen And the reason why you were just below the leaderboard was because she took that first place in event too. But I mean, you're right in the mix. You're right between Ariel Lowen and Emily Rolfe, two veteran athletes. Has that sunk in with you yet?
Yeah, it definitely has. And it's just wild to think about, but it definitely, again, it's just boosted my confidence. And like I said in the interview, um, with who was that on the floor? I can't remember. Was I talking to Tommy or no? Anyways, I just said like I am capable, and
Mhm.
that is the truth. It's my mantra. It's literally on my bracelets, what I was telling me all weekend. And now I can confidently say that rather than just looking and be like, hey, brain, we are confident. We are confident. Now I really do believe that, right?
When you look at the weekend in its entirety, what event are you most proud of?
Ooh. Um, I would probably have to say the first event, just because there was so much uh, there were so many conversations I was having myself during it. I was able to stay super composed, no matter where people were kind of coming back and forth. And yeah, I was just so proud of myself for one, going out as hot as everyone else. I had times, but I was like, we
Well,
gotta
throw them
stick
out the
with these
door.
girls. Yeah, see you later. Um, so yeah, I was just really proud of my mental game during that one.
So you threw your split times out the window and you were able to stay with the pack. I mean, that was your best finish, a
Yeah,
third. So do you feel like, I don't wanna say that you sandbagged it in practice, but do you feel like you y y that having the caliber of athletes next to you allowed you to see what your true potential was?
for sure. Yeah, it does help for sure. And just a couple like mindset things that I told myself beforehand, and being able to hold on to that and be present during the workout. Cause I usually just black out. And I mean, my mindset coach has told me, okay, we need to, think about the next move or whatever it is. But a lot of the time I just black out and I forget, oh no, we should be thinking about the next move or whatever. But this one, I was having a conversation with myself the whole time, telling myself, what to do. And it just felt really cool. And yes, it does help to have those people. And even so, Lindsay Martin, her and I trained together sometimes. And at one point, we were both running right beside each other, and it just felt comfortable and it felt really cool. And I was just so grateful. So it was cool to have that feeling in the middle of a workout when you're breathing hard, to be like, oh, this is so cool to be beside Lindsay right now. And so I think just the whole thing in general, and doing the stairs was awesome too. I was kind of bummed that we didn't get to do more stairs.
Do you feel like you would have been able to separate from the pack more if there were more stairs that played to your favor? Or
I
more for
mean,
the experience are you speaking to?
more for the experience. Maybe I could have pushed a little bit. Yeah, maybe it would have separated me a little bit, but yeah, it was just for more of the experience.
When you're going through these events, whether it's at semifinals or just when you're training at home, is there something that you keep telling yourself? For me, I know if I'm in the middle of a really hard metcon that I don't wanna do, if I tell myself, "You've hurt worse than this," that kind of helps
Mm.
me, and I'm curious if you have a phrase or something that keeps you going to continue the push.
I mean, I feel like the bigger goal is just what kind of pops into the head, right? It's like, why are we doing this? And then it also helps to have Amanda, my best friend. So we we both have these days, and we both have to tell each other, hey, it's okay, just come in and get what you can done. And it's okay if you go to sandbag today, you're still just here getting it done. And it's okay if today takes 3 hours instead of two for whatever piece you're doing. Just let's get it done, because what is the goal, right? um, yeah, I think it's just the bigger goal that pops into my head usually.
Now you've officially punched your ticket to the CrossFit Games. Did you say that you went to Universal after?
Yeah.
What were some of the things that you did? I need to hear all about this.
Oh man. So I'm in love with Optimus Prime, and so I got to meet Optimus Prime.
Wow.
That's something
Wow.
everyone probably doesn't know, but I told Jake I would leave him for Optimus Prime. I know it's pretty harsh, but or we could just
He's
have
your
a
hall pass
three.
or whatever they
Yeah,
call it. Yeah.
yeah, we could have a throuple or something. I don't know, but I did tell him I loved him, and he was like, "Well, I'm in love with the universe," so he pretty much shut me down. So no
Oh,
Optimus
come
Prime for
on.
me. We went on a bunch of rides. That was super fun. The Harry Potter ride was I get motion sickness, and it was intense. It was so cool. If you don't get motion sickness, go on it for sure. But they strap you into this little seat. There's four of us. Our legs are dangling, and it's going horizontal, but it's also doing this.
Oh,
And
yeah.
at one point, you're doing this, and then there's a big screen in front of you, and it's like Harry Potter and everyone on their brooms, and you're following them going super fast through the air. And it does feel like you're flying through the air. And it was so cool. But at one point, I was like, okay, I got to close my eyes here. This is too much.
That's honestly one of the best ways that I can think to decompress before now I assume we're working back into games training. And for you, what does that look like? Are you going to meet up with some friends to be able to train or other athletes to train, or just what do you have on the schedule?
Yeah, so I'll stay here in Lethbridge for the most part, but I will go up to Calgary, which is about 2 hours away. That's where Lindsay Martin and the OPT girls are. So I'll go train with them a couple times, and then I'm going to head to Texas. I'm not sure when yet, but before the games at some point, because that's where Tristan is. And then we'll train there, and then we'll both just drive to Fort Worth.
What are you most excited for the CrossFit Games?
I mean, Dave said it's going to be more old school CrossFit. So I think that because that's kind of been the theme of this year. And I do love that. So I think pretty much that. Maybe, yeah, I would say that for sure.
What are like some of the ways that you train to make sure that you're prepared, of course, for the classic CrossFit style stuff, but then in case they throw something like crossover triple unders, or, there's always just some kind of crazy thing that's thrown that I personally have no idea how I would train for that.
Yeah, my coach is pretty good at giving us like skill pieces just to practice, and it's not, for time or whatever. So I think that's nice because it's like 10 to 15 minutes, just play around with this. And that's how I like to do it anyways. And that's how I give it to my clients as well, is just, hey, no stress. Let's just play for 10 minutes, do what you can, try to get the movement, and then let's move on. So I think probably his theme is going to be giving me those skill pieces just under, just chill, and then do the CrossFit stuff, do the strength stuff after that.
How do you manage what a successful rookie year at the games looks like? I mean, so many people look at success based on a leaderboard, but I'm sure that there's other variables that play into it for you, and I'd like to know what are they?
Yeah, I've been thinking about this, and I think I heard last year that a few of the girls didn't love their experience, and it's probably I can't say what it was exactly, but probably the leaderboard where they landed. And honestly, I just want to go out there and have fun like I did with semifinals, and have my group with me. And we got a cool bougie Airbnb, and there's 8 of us staying there, and that is what's going to be my de-stress and just hanging out with the people that I love most. And I just want to go out there and obviously do well, but to do well, I need to love what I'm doing. So I really just need to go in there and, do my pre-game Disney dancing ritual, because that is what calmed me down. No, you have no idea. So my manager, he's
What's
all
the
about
playlist?
superstition. He's my
Yeah.
super he's all about that. And so every morning we would start with a G-Eazy song and then some Disney songs. And I
Oh,
mean,
that's
two
too good.
polar opposites, but it just chilled me out. And I'm sitting there singing to Mulan, I'll make a man out of you. And like, just,
Oh,
yeah. So it's just going to be about, what can calm me down? What can, how can I have fun going out there?
Hattie, you're gonna have to share your playlist with the people. Give the people what they want. We wanna listen to the hype playlist as we go into our local affiliates, but it has been such a pleasure to get to know you more from high school little shit, as you said, to now CrossFit Games athlete, the best evolution, and I wish you all the success, and we can't wait to see you in Texas.
Thank you so much. I appreciate this opportunity.